Bonjour! In this video, I'll be showing you how to add a gusset to your sleeve. And the reason for a gusset is to help us with mobility issues. Sometimes if your sleeve cap is too high, meaning that your sleeve is too close to your bodies, that can cause mobility issues where you're not able to lift your arms too high, and a gusset will be what helps you with that. So first, I'll start by showing you how to create a sleeve with a built-in gusset, and then I will show you how to cut out a gusset piece and add it to your sleeve. So I'm starting with a copy of my sleeve, and I am drawing a line starting from the top of my sleeve from the center line, drawing a line to connect it to my underarm point at the front. And at first I started with a line that was too close to my curve because my curve is deep at the front. And so I restarted drawing my line from the top of my sleeve, starting at the center line to then connect that line to my underarm area. And I'm doing the same thing for the front and the back before I start cutting. So I'm starting to cut from the underarm area to the top of my sleeve at that center line area, center line mark. And I'm not cutting all the way through it, just to it. And I'm doing it for the front and for the back. Next, I take pieces of tape and tape all around my sleeve, all around except for the parts where I cut and will be lifting. And that's just to make things easier for me to keep my sleeve from lifting as I start working on it. And next, I take my tape measure and place it 2 inches from the underarm up. That's how much I'm going to lift my sleeve by 2 inches. And so wherever the tip of that piece that I cut reaches up to 2 inches, that is where my tape measure tape needs to be. So it's 2 inches from the underarm up. And I mark, and then I am going to trace around that piece, making sure that I mark my notches as well. And I will be doing the same thing for the front. And this instruction I got from the Helen Joseph Armstrong's book regarding raglan sleeve, which I'll be doing next. So I just use the same method for a regular sleeve. And I do prefer to have my sleeve lifted before I go ahead and manipulate it. If I am going to do a style that I'm going to I'm going to add a lift to, instead of me manipulating my sleeve and then adding the lift to whatever style it is, I prefer to add my lift first and then manipulate it. And I will be doing different my raglan sleeves in different ways. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, and you'll definitely be seeing it when I upload it. And now that my sleeve head has been lifted, I am going in with my curve ruler and connecting a line starting from where I marked the 2 inches to lift up my sleeve head, my underarm point, and connecting that to the length of my sleeve, to where my sleeve ends. Because mine is short, if I was using my full sleeve length pattern, I would have connected that curve to my elbow and leave everything else the same from elbow to wrist. But because I'm doing a short sleeve, I'm demonstrating on a shorter sleeve, I'm going all the way to the sleeve length. And I'm just putting a finishing touch to everything. I am pretty much done with my built-in gusset, my sleeve with built-in gusset. I am going to smooth out my curve as you see, because I had to lift the sleeve, things moved, so I'm just smoothing everything out. I will be drawing my center line and connect everything that needs to be connected. At the back, as you can see, my sleeve curve is a bit deep, so I did go in and smooth that out a bit, and I just connect everything that needs to be connected, and just like that, my sleeve was done. And this is the difference between my regular setting sleeve and the lifted sleeve. It is definitely different. And then I just go ahead and cut everything out to reveal my final pattern for my sleeve with the built-in gusset. For this sleeve, I will not be doing a sewing tutorial. It is sewn just like you would sew your sleeve to your bodies. This is a setting sleeve, so you would just sew your setting sleeve like you would and add it to your bodies. And I will do more sewing tutorials or sewing marathon, I should say, at the end of the series so I can show you how to sew or just show you me sewing everything that I've been showing you how to make patterns for. I still have to do the skirt pattern and torso block once I'm done with the sleeve section. And so let's move on to adding the gusset next. So I have my scrap piece of paper on which I'll be drawing a line, and I will measure 4 inches on that line. That's how long my gusset will be. and I will be marking the midpoint of those 4 inches. And next, I'm going to draw a perpendicular line at that center point, and that perpendicular line is going to have the same measurement, 4 inches, and the midpoint will be the center of that line. So we have some sort of a cross here, and I'm going to mark my measurement on the line. And now that it's done, I am connecting all my points from where I marked my measurements. And that's that for my gusset. And once I'm done marking all my points, which creates a diamond shape, really a square also, because all the sides are equal. Depending on how you turn it, it would be a square. So I add my seam allowance once that's done. And then I'm going to cut it out from the paper and reveal my gusset. And once my gusset is cut out, I went ahead and cut out my pattern onto my fabric of choice, and then next I'll be showing you how to attach the gusset to the sleeve. So I have my regular sleeve with my gusset, and I have my sleeve with my built-in gusset. And now I have my sleeve and gusset cut out. I am marking the corners of my gusset where my seam allowance would meet, but instead of marking my seam allowance lines, I'm just marking the corners instead. So I align the top seam allowance to the sleeve seam allowance just to see where it reaches on the seam, and that's where I will be marking to sew up to my sewing point. So I align things, and my corner that I marked on my gusset, I'm just marking that corner point on my seam as well. And I'm doing the same thing on the bodice. Once you fold this into a triangle, one side goes to the sleeve, one side goes to the bodice. And that's just the easiest way I feel to do this. So this the point I'm marking here on the bodice will indicate up to where I open the bodice up to and also sewing it to. And what I'm doing next is adding my gusset to my sleeve seam, right sides together, preparing it to be sewn in. And I like to attach it to my sleeve first and then attach it to my bodice. And then I do my sleeve. I finish off my sleeve. And from here, I'll just let you watch everything. If you have questions, comment below. And I will be doing more projects where I do insert gussets and other things in the near future.